much for having us and supporting us, John. This is a story that I think you'll find very, very intriguing. We're elephant hunting. We're looking for a Tier 1 gold system akin to the Carlin Trend or the Abitibi. This has potential to revitalize South Dakota. Now, this is where we view ourselves in the exploration cycle. We have spent the last 3 years focused on our 100% owned Rochford Gold Project. And what we're looking for is a repeat of Homestake. Now, that's awfully big word since Homestake was one of the most successful mines and the deepest, richest gold mine hosted iron formation. It averaged close to 8.5 grams per ton. It went down about 2.5 vertical kilometers. Now, they shut down in 2001 because of the depths, the temperatures, and gold prices. It caused a lot of logistical problems. That mine is now currently a neutrino observatory. It's been handed over to the government to conduct those studies. We think that to the south of the Homestake mine, we have virtually identical geology. It's all part of the same system. And we want to prove that those fluids that existed and consolidated along the Homestake mine also did the same within our Rochford district. Now, it's located in South Dakota, the United States. I was approached today by a gentleman, and he was wondering what concerns we have with environmental impact. He was wondering if it was like Montana. We've been in the district or in South Dakota for several years now. We also have directors that have graduated from the state. They are tremendously supportive and have just launched a new initiative to try and bring mining to the state. So our experience there has been tremendous. Now, if you see the big star, that's where we're located. About 20 miles to the north is the Wharf mine. It's currently in operation. It's a heap leach operation on the side of a ski hill. There you are. Coeur Mining's operating it. And the old Homestake mine, which is a different type of geology just to the east there. Infrastructure is tremendous. We could drive to any drill hole. There's power in the area. Now, you'll see our land holdings down to the end. In the past, like John mentioned, there was a lot of money spent in exploration along the whole belt. A lot of that ran into difficulty because of the fragmented structure of land holdings, and I'll show you a perfect example of our Cochrane deposit or our Cochrane land holdings in a second here. Now, what's very important to understand, Homestake comprised ledges. These are, if you would like to think, cigar-shaped areas and regions where the gold concentrated. You need specific geology for those to have occurred. You need what's called, actually I'll go back for a second. You can see the average grade of these, over 8 grams per ton. Some of the ledges up to 19 million ounces in their largest ledge. We're looking for hopefully ledge 9 style discoveries where we believe we have 5 of these ledges on our property right now, and they could host up to 9.5 million ounces. Past exploration was very shallow in the region, averaging about 150 meters in depth. Now, here's the complex geology part that we have identified, shown, and proven exists on our property. Due to time constraints, I won't go into it too much, but you need folding where you have your banded iron formation, you have your primary set of folding, and then you have secondary folding, and then a shear zone. And the shear zone allowed fluids to come up, and when it hit the right rocks, consolidated it into these cigar-shaped ledges. Here are 4 of the ledges that are on our property with the F2 folding, the shear zones. You want to look, not to be too technical, on the syncline, not the anticline. That's where the gold's going to be. So we know the geology and structure intimately well, and I'll show you the team that we've put together. A lot of past People from the district could not get this project out of their mind. They've approached us. They're either advisors or our vice president of exploration from various companies. Here are the 5 trends. So there's 5 different trends for us to explore. This is not a one-shot deal. What we intend to do is go out. The first 2 main targets will be the Cochrane trend and the Standby trend. We hope to drill 10,000 meters on both those trends. And you can see early, back in the day, the Standby mine did have drill holes where 12 meters, 4.6 grams per ton. The Cochrane trend has a deposit now, it predates 43101. It had approximately 268,000 ounces, close to 7 grams per ton. Talking about the fragmented land, well, it just so happens that that property, the last drill hole was probably about 10, 15 meters away from our property boundary. The majors could not deal with the other majors in consolidating the land holdings, so they walked away. Here's one of the examples, our Standby target, and you can see that only the very tip of what we call a tail has been drilled. Now, in Homestake, the most successful parts would be the centroid, the middle there. We have enough volume of material, if our theory is correct and we drill that, we could host another potential 9 million ounces. Now, that's very forward-looking statement. It's got to work out, but, if it's a third of that, a quarter of that, I don't care. There's a lot of gold that we've seen in the system, but it has not been systematically explored. There was a lot of, in the late 90s, sort of a one-shot, as John calls it, a kill shot. They would throw one big deep hole in with a wedge on it and hope for the discovery hole. We are not going to do that. That would be a mistake to do that. If we went out and drilled just one hole to prove, you can miss just as easily as you hit on that. We know how to vector in on these zones. There's defining geology that will tell us exactly where to go on your next hole and the subsequent hole. We believe for certain it's there and we're going to find it. Once again, the Cochrane deposit, there's 268,000 ounces there. Well, they had to stop because they couldn't acquire the southern property, and it all trends onto our property. Once again, the size potential of what's there. There's known drill holes, there's known grade. So this is not just a theory. The gold is in the system, it's pregnant. We have to see how big it can be. Now, our plans, of course, I just mentioned we want to do 20,000 meters in 2017. Drill holes have been submitted for permitting a while ago. They will be on the property next week. So we estimate that we will have them very shortly. Our main goal right now is to raise another $4 million. We did just do $1 million privately about a month or so ago, and we're in advanced negotiations right now with someone that I can't mention, but could help us tremendously going forward. Now, I've gone through all these, but what's really important in doing this, not only have we consolidated the land holdings, we acquired 6 different databases from different companies. This is the first time ever it's been consolidated into one database. So we have a view that no one has ever had of the region, and it's going to lead us to success. The team, we have brought a lot of advisors and people, for example, Dr. Robert Brzozowski, he was one of the senior guys with Western Mining Corp on this project. He has intimate knowledge of it. We also have former Homestake people that are hopefully shortly going to be announced as advisors as well. This is a project where they all believe there's unfinished business. It was not explored the right way, and we're going to do it the right way. There's our share structure. You can look at that later. We do have just under $1 million in our till right now. And once again, I think if you come to our booth, we can explain this in more detail. And as a matter of fact, I have copies of John's research report on us. He tells the story even better than I do. I'd like to hire him to do our presentations here. But thank you very much for listening, and we hope to talk to you after.